On September 3, 2025, the world watched as Beijing unfolded a spectacle of military might and diplomatic alignment. The event, held on the Avenue of Eternal Peace in Tiananmen Square, was officially to commemorate the 80th anniversary of Japan's surrender in World War II. However, the parade's true purpose was far more contemporary. It was a carefully choreographed declaration of China's arrival as a formidable global power, one ready to shape a new international order. President Xi Jinping stood at the center of this display, not just as a host, but as the architect of a burgeoning coalition designed to counterbalance Western dominance in its institutions, which Beijing increasingly views as outdated and hostile. The guest list for this grand event was as significant as the hardware on display. Standing prominently alongside President Xi were Russian President Vladimir Putin and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. The public gathering of these leaders, joined by Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian and over 24 other heads of state, was a powerful piece of political theater. This was the first time the leaders of China, Russia, North Korea and Iran, a group some Western analysts have dubbed the axis of upheaval, were seen together in such a formal setting. Their presence signaled a deepening of alliances that have been solidifying for years, forged in a shared opposition to American foreign policy and economic pressure. This gathering was more than a symbolic gesture. It represented a strategic convergence of interests. For Russia, isolated by Western sanctions over its war in Ukraine, China offers a vital economic lifeline and diplomatic support. For North Korea and Iran, both facing international condemnation and economic strangulation, Beijing provides a powerful patron. For China, these partnerships amplify its global influence and create a network of allies that can challenge the United States on multiple fronts simultaneously. The message was unmistakable. An attack on one member of this informal bloc will be met with a coordinated response from the others, creating a complex new geopolitical calculus for Washington. The historical narrative underpinning the parade was itself a form of soft power. By framing the event around the victory in 1-2, China sought to recast history, emphasizing its own role and that of the Soviet Union as the primary victors over fascism and militarism. This narrative, recently bolstered by popular domestic films like Dead to Rights, subtly diminishes the contributions of the Western allies. It presents China not as a disruptive rising power, but as a rightful inheritor of a global leadership role, one that has been unjustly denied by a Western-centric historical account. This revisionist history serves to legitimize its current ambitions in the eyes of its own people and potential partners across the developing world. The parade was, at its core, a staggering exhibition of China's military-industrial complex. The People's Liberation Army rolled out an arsenal that demonstrated a quantum leap in technological sophistication, moving far beyond its old reputation for reverse engineering Soviet-era equipment. The clear focus was on systems designed to counter American military strengths, particularly its naval superiority. One of the stars of the show was the new Dongfeng 61 missile, a weapon reportedly capable of carrying multiple warheads and overwhelming enemy defense systems. This, along with established platforms like the DF-26D Guam Killer, sends a clear signal of China's intent to enforce its anti-access area denial strategy, making it perilous for the US Navy to operate near China's shores. Beyond the missiles, the parade revealed China's emergence as a world leader in unmanned systems and artificial intelligence. The skies were filled with an array of drones, from the stealthy GJ-11 Loyal Wingman designed to accompany manned fighters into combat, to the massive AJX-02 submarine drone, an extra-large, uncrewed underwater vehicle stretching nearly 20 meters. On the ground, the PLA showcased eerie AI-powered robotic wolves, machines designed for reconnaissance or even direct combat roles. This focus on autonomous warfare highlights Beijing's strategy to leverage technology to overcome potential numerical or experiential disadvantages against a battle-hardened adversary like the United States military. The display also confirmed China's mastery of fifth-generation air power. J-20 and J-35 stealth fighter jets performed flyovers, showcasing not just advanced airframes but also, crucially, domestically produced jet engines. For years, China's reliance on Russian engines was seen as a key vulnerability. The successful development of its own high-performance engines signifies a major step toward complete military self-reliance. This capability is particularly critical in the context of a potential conflict over Taiwan, as it ensures China can produce and maintain its most advanced aircraft without fear of foreign sanctions or supply chain disruptions, a lesson learned from Russia's struggles in Ukraine. This technological showcase serves a dual purpose. Internally, it fuels national pride and reinforces the Communist Party's narrative of national rejuvenation and strength. Externally, it acts as a powerful deterrent and a giant sales pitch, as one expert noted. Nations like Pakistan, which recently used Chinese-made J-10C jets in combat against India, are proof of China's growing role as an arms supplier. The parade puts the world on notice that Chinese military hardware is not only abundant, but also increasingly on par with, and in some areas perhaps even surpassing, the technology produced by the West. This alters the military balance not just in Asia, but in any region where Chinese arms are sold. President Xi Jinping's speech during the parade was a masterclass in geopolitical messaging, delivered with the confidence of a leader who believes history is on his side. He spoke of building a community with a shared future for mankind, a vision that stands in direct opposition to what he described as the United States Cold War mentality and bullying practices. The entire event was crafted to present China as a source of stability and predictability in a world unsettled by what Beijing portrays as erratic American leadership. By hosting leaders from across Asia, Africa, and Latin America, Xi was presenting a tangible alternative to the Western-led alliance system, one based on non-interference and economic partnership, rather than shared democratic values. The timing of the parade was deliberately provocative, occurring amid heightened tensions between the United States and other global powers. The recent imposition of steep tariffs on India by the Trump administration, for example, created a diplomatic opening for China. The sight of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi engaging warmly with Xi and Putin at the associated Shanghai Cooperation Organization summit sent a powerful message to Washington. It suggested that even America's strategic partners are hedging their bets and exploring closer ties with Beijing and Moscow. China is skillfully exploiting these rifts, casting doubt on American reliability and positioning itself as a more dependable partner for nations in the global south. This diplomatic offensive is backed by a clear military threat aimed squarely at deterring American intervention in China's near abroad, most notably regarding Taiwan. The parade's emphasis on hypersonic missiles, carrier-killer ballistics, and a massive naval fleet is designed to make the costs of any US military action in the Taiwan Strait unacceptably high. In response to the parade, Taiwan's President Lai Ching-te invoked the lessons of World War II, stating that unity ensures victory, while aggression inevitably fails. Yet the sheer scale of the PLA's modernization effort raises serious questions about whether Taiwan and its allies can mount a credible defense without incurring devastating losses, a reality that Beijing is keen to impress upon the world. Fundamentally, the parade was a declaration that the post-Cold War unipolar moment is over. The presence of Putin, Kim, and Pezeshkian was a coordinated effort to signal that the United States could face simultaneous crises on multiple fronts. In Europe, the Korean Peninsula, and the Taiwan Strait. This prospect of a multi-front conflict is a strategic nightmare for Pentagon planners. By fostering this axis of upheaval, China is not necessarily seeking immediate conflict. Instead, it is engaging in sophisticated psychological warfare, aiming to exhaust American resources and political will, compelling Washington to retreat from its global commitments and cede influence in regions Beijing considers its rightful sphere. Military experts watching the parade were struck by the sheer pace and scale of China's military modernization. Just a decade ago, the PLA was largely seen as producing rudimentary copies of Western and Russian technology. Today, it is an innovation powerhouse, particularly in asymmetric capabilities like drones and missiles, where it may already hold an advantage. The state-directed top-down industrial model allows China to mass-produce these systems at a speed and volume that Western defense contractors struggle to match. This creates the potential for a battlefield strategy based on overwhelming numbers where sophisticated American platforms could be saturated by swarms of cheaper, expendable Chinese drones and missiles. However, these same experts caution against equating technological prowess with battlefield effectiveness. The PLA is a massive and largely untested force. It has not fought a major war in over 4 decades. A key question remains about its organizational agility and the ability of its commanders to integrate these complex new systems in a fluid, high-intensity conflict. The US military, hardened by decades of continuous operations, cultivates a bottom-up culture of decision-making that empowers junior officers to adapt on the fly. In contrast, the PLA's rigid, centralized command structure, which waits for orders from the top, could prove to be a critical weakness in a fast-moving war. Beyond military questions, the event underscored China's vision for global leadership. Beijing is trying to position itself as the anchor of a new, non-Western order. It contrasts its model of state-led development and political stability with the perceived chaos and internal divisions of Western democracies. This message resonates with many authoritarian leaders and developing nations who are weary of American lectures on human rights and democracy. The lackluster military parade held for President Trump's birthday in June 2025 provided a convenient foil, allowing Chinese state media to portray American power as decadent and declining, while China's is disciplined, ascendant, and focused on the future. Ultimately, the 2025 parade was not just about weapons, it was about legitimacy. China is making a bold claim that its model of governance is not only successful but superior, and that it is ready to assume the mantle of global leadership. It offers a world where economic deals are not tied to political reforms, and where national sovereignty is paramount, an attractive proposition for many. The West, particularly the United States, now faces a competitor that is not just challenging its military dominance, but is also offering a comprehensive and credible alternative vision for how the world should be run. The post-American world may not be here yet, but from Beijing, its outlines are becoming clearer every day.